Okay, so here's part 2 of me reading Beauty and the Beast. Well now, said the wardrobe cheerfully, what shall we dress you in for dinner? She flung open her doors. That's very kind of you, said Belle, gazing at herself in the wardrobe's mirrored door. But I'm not going to dinner. Oh, but you must, cried the wardrobe anxiously, just as Cogsworth appeared. Ahem, dinner is served, he announced importantly. Downstairs, the Beast drummed angrily on the table as his servants advised him to be patient with their visitor. Master, said Lumiere, have you thought that perhaps this girl could break the spell? You fall in love with her, she falls in love with you, and poof, the spell is broken. We'll be human again by midnight. That's not easy, Lumiere, said Mrs. Potts. These things take time. It's no use, said the Beast. But if she doesn't eat with me, then she doesn't eat at all. Back in the village tavern, Gaston was brooding about Belle when Maurice burst into the room, muddy and wild-eyed. Help, he cried. He's got Belle locked in the dungeon. We must go. Slow down, Maurice, demanded Gaston. Who's got Belle locked in a dungeon? A beast, cried Maurice, a horrible, monstrous beast. The others burst out laughing, convinced that the old inventor was crazy. As two of Gaston's cronies were about to hustle Maurice to the door, Gaston narrowed his eye in thought. Pulling LeFou aside, he said, I have a plan. Later that night, Belle got very hungry. She found her way to the kitchen and heard the stove complaining to Mrs. Potts. I work and I slave all day long for what? A culinary masterpiece gone to waste. Belle stared curiously as the stove, which fell silent when it saw her. I am a little hungry, Belle confided to Mrs. Potts. You are? Cried Mrs. Potts excitedly. Stock the fire, she called to Cogsworth and Lumiere. Break out the silver, wake the china. Remember what the master said about feeding her, warned Cogsworth, but Mrs. Potts paid no attention to him. Right this way, mademoiselle, said Lumiere, leading Belle into the dining room. Be our guest. With that, the bottles popped their corks, and the dishes began to sing and dance with gusto as Lumiere conducted. The feather dusters formed a lively chorus, lined with that swept up the sputtering Cogsworth. It was a wonderful cabaret show, staged for the castle's first guests in 10 years. Mrs. Potts bubbled with delight. The serving pieces brought in one delicious course after another. The banquet was over. Belle stood up and cheered. Bravo, that was wonderful, she exclaimed, clapping. Now I'd like to look around if that's all right. Belle, who had been warned not to go into the West Wing, but when the others weren't looking, she sped upstairs and entered the Beast's lair. The dirty room was strewn with broken furniture, cracked mirrors, ripped cloth, and gnawed bones. The only beautiful living thing was the enchanted rose glowing in the bell jar. When Belle reached out to touch the rose, the Beast leaped into the room. Why did you come here? He roared. Get out. Terrified, Belle turned and fled down the stairs. She hurried outside and raced to the stable for Philippe. They escaped from the castle into the freezing night. Suddenly, Philippe snorted in alarm, and Belle saw cruel yellow eyes blazing in the dark. The wolves! Philippe broke into a frenzied gallop. Branches tore at them as they raced through the forest, with the wolves following close behind. Philippe reared into terror as a wolf snapped at his heels. Belle was thrown off, and Philippe's reins caught on a tree branch. Belle seized a sharp branch to defend Philippe. As the wolves closed in on Belle, a huge paw snatched one wolf away, the beast. He grappled with the snarling wolves, flinging them to either side. The forest echoed with the roar of combat. The wolves were no match for the beast's fury. One of them bit his arm before he sent it flying with a sweep of his great paw. The wolf slammed against the tree and lay still. Then the rest of the pack slunk away. The beast staggered and fell to the ground. Belle knew she could escape, but when she saw the beast was badly wounded, she stayed. Supporting the beast between them, Belle and Philippe went back to the castle. When Belle tried to put a compress on the beast's arm, he roared, "That hurt. If you hold still, it wouldn't hurt as much. If you hadn't run away, sulked the beast, this wouldn't happen." But he let her tie her scarf around his arm as a bandage. "By the way," said Belle, "thank you for saving my life." After the incident, the whole household was delighted to see the friendship growing between Belle and her master. First, he showed her all the books in the huge library and said, "They're yours." The next day, Belle and the beast had dinner together. Awkwardly, the beast sat in a small chair and tried to eat with a spoon. Later, Belle read the story of King Arthur and Queen Guinevere to the beast. The tale was so romantic that Lumiere cried. Even Cogsworth wiped a tear away before he sent everyone back to work. Soon afterward, the beast shyly led Belle to the ballroom where they danced to a beautiful love song. Then they went on to the terrace. The beast asked, "Belle, are you happy here with me?" "If only I could see my father again just for a moment," Belle answered. There is a way," said the beast, and he brought out the enchanted mirror. When they looked into it, they were shocked to see Maurice lost in the forest, shaking with the cold as he searched for Belle. "Papa," cried Belle, "oh no, he's sick and alone." "Then you must go to him," said the beast. Handing her the mirror, he said, "Take it with you, so you'll always have a way to look back and remember me." "Thank you for understanding how much he needs me," said Belle, touching the beast's paw. Then she ran to the courtyard and rode away as the beast watched her from his balcony. When the beast went inside, he said sadly to Cogsworth, "I let her go." "You what?" cried Cogsworth. "How could you?" "I had to." "Why?" asked Cogsworth near tears. "Because I love her," sighed the beast. With the mirror's help, Belle found Maurice and brought him home. He was delirious with fever and dangerously sick. When Maurice began to recover, he could scarcely believe that the beast let Belle go. "That horrible beast?" he asked her in amazement. "But he's different now, Papa," said Belle quietly. "He's changed somehow." Just then there was a knock on the door. Belle opened the door to see a strange man standing in front of the village in a van marked Insane Asylum. Monsieur d'Arc, director of the asylum, said, "I've come to collect your father." "My father's not crazy," said Belle angrily. "He was raving like a lunatic about a huge beast," said LeFou. He knew that Gaston had planned to have Maurice locked up unless Belle agreed to marry him. Belle ran into the cottage and returned with the mirror. Show me the beast," she demanded. When the villagers saw the beast in the mirror, they screamed. Monsieur d'Arc sped away in his van, and Gaston seized the mirror from Belle. Furious his plan had failed, he told the villagers, "The beast will make off with your children. He'll come after them in the night." "I say we kill the beast," the mob cheered. "I won't let you do this," cried Belle, but Gaston locked her and Maurice in the cellar as the villagers gathered weapons and torches. Guided by the mirror, Gaston led the mob through the forest. On the way, they chopped down a tree to use as a battering ram. Cogsworth, Lumiere, and Mrs. Potts saw them from the window. "Sacre bleu!" cried Lumiere. "Invaders!" "Warn the master!" cried Cogsworth. "We'll be ready for them." "Who's with me?" said the others. The others scattered to alert the household and prepare a defense. The battering ram crashed through the door, and the villagers entered the castle. At first, all was quiet. Then they were confronted by a host of angry objects, pitchers and ladles, pots and pails, prepared to do battle. Upstairs, the beast sat forlornly in Belle's room. Leave me in peace," he said to Mrs. Potts as she came to warn him. The thunderbolt exploded into the sky as the villagers clashed with the defenders, but nothing could rouse the beast to action. Alright, so this video is getting long, so I'm going to stop it here. So I'll see you in part 3. Bye.